First, thank you that you come in Bulgaria for the first time. It
The second time.
the second time.
The second time, yes. I came to Bulgaria one time before for
When?
one day.
But
And you know what?
not for a concert.
No, for a concert. I played a show with Dropkick Murphys in
Yes.
Sofia in January 2020.
Oh, in the middle of the pandemic.
No, it was just before the pandemic. It was the last
Oh, yes,
tour that I
January.
did.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. It was a time when in the news they were saying, something's happening in China, something's happening in Italy. And at the time, everybody was like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it was like,
Yes.
that's never going to come to us. I played the one show in Sofia, and I was so happy to come to Bulgaria for the first time. I had a wonderful time. I sung one song in Bulgarian,
Really?
one of my songs translated into Bulgarian.
Which song?
It's a song called Eulogy. It's a very, very short song. And I had the lyrics on a piece of paper,
Do you remember
so that I could
something?
read them out.
Do you remember
I
something?
don't. I have it. I have it on my computer.
Oh,
So maybe I will have to do this again when I come back to Sofia. But it was really great. It was a good time.
people will come crazy if you do that in March 17th.
Yeah. Well, so it's a thing that I often do is to sing a song or even to speak some words, in the local language. And to me, it's good manners. It's a way of showing respect to your audience, and to say, I am the visitor here and I get it and thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing this. This is not so often from a big artist to do such a thing, especially in Bulgarian, because our language is spoken. We speak only Bulgarians speak Bulgarian. Nobody knows
Yeah,
this
sure.
language, and
Yeah.
it's difficult.
Well, I would, so that I do not speak any Bulgarian.
Yes,
I must admit, it's written on the piece of paper. But your fact for the day, when I was at university, which
yes.
was about 100,000 years ago, but anyway, I studied Balkan history.
Whoa.
And I did my dissertation, my long essay, was on British Balkan and specifically British Bulgarian relations in the 1930s.
You're a wonder. I didn't expect to hear such a thing today.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I can't remember very much of it anymore. It was a long, long time ago. It had to do with tobacco. It was all about tobacco. That's what I
Yes,
remember.
but
Yeah, because
it's a fact that you know something about Bulgaria because a lot of artists from Eastern Europe, from America, they didn't know anything about Bulgaria. They think that we are a Turkish province or something else.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
Bulgaria and you know where you come. Uh,
Yes, and this is it. So for this whole tour, the tour where I'm coming to Bulgaria, I'm very, very excited because I'm going to visit a lot of places that I have read about a lot, but maybe not been. I've been to Sofia one time before, but like I've never been to Romania, and I'm very excited to go there. We're going to Skopje, all these kinds of places. So I'm very excited for the tour.
uh, do you have some fears about going somewhere you've never been before? You don't know what to expect. I know you toured past 20 years, but after 20 years of touring, you go to a place you've never been. Do you have some fears, something, well, something, I don't know.
I wouldn't say fears. I would say excitement. One of the great privileges of what I do for a living is that I get to see different parts of the world because I play the guitar, and that's crazy. Because I mean, first of all, I do it anyway. I don't I don't need that reward. Like I love it, but like there's so many parts of the world I've been to only because I play music, and I just think that's incredible. I feel very, very lucky for that. And of course, I understand that more often than not, I'm there for one day and I see a venue and maybe 5 minutes walk around the venue or 10 minutes walk around the venue, and maybe a hotel. Um, and an airport sometimes if I'm lucky, and all this kind of thing. So, you know, I don't want to claim that because I've toured in Japan, I know Japan. I was there for 2 days, you know, like it's like, so I want to be careful about saying that I know the world, that know the places I've been to. But nevertheless, like, it's cool to go there, to talk to people, to meet people, to learn a little something about the world. I try to ask questions more than make statements, you know, when I'm in a new place. It's just like, I don't know very much about Bulgaria and I would like to learn more. So when I'm there, I'm going to be, I mean, I'm sorry for the people who I meet backstage, because I'm just going to be like, tell me this, tell me this, tell me this, tell me this. Also, my tour manager who comes with me everywhere, he said to me the other day that he was going to buy some earplugs for this tour, because he said, you're just going to be talking about history for the whole fucking thing all day, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, it's going to be so boring. But anyway, so yeah, I wouldn't say fear. I would say excitement. It's such a wonderful thing, you know. I will, by the end of that day, I will know a tiny bit more about Bulgaria than I do right now. And that makes me happy.
It's wonderful that you want to know more about places and people you visit. This tour will be acoustic. Why?
Yes.
Why did you decide to be acoustic?
So one of the good things about the way my career works is that when I was in punk bands when I was younger. When that ended, at the beginning, it was just me and my guitar, not even a tour manager. I would have like a backpack and a guitar case. And I took the train for 3 years and toured on the train. It sucked. But it's very cheap, right? It's a very cheap way to exist. Nowadays, you know, when I'm doing my big tours in like America and in the UK and in Germany and stuff like that, I can afford to take my band and my crew and a tour bus and a drum kit and all this kind of stuff. On this tour, because a lot of the places I'm going to for the first or the second time, I can't really afford to take my full setup. Mm-hmm. But I can still go, because I can go the way I used to go. And hopefully, fingers crossed, what it means is if I make some new friends in Sofia and it goes well, then I'll come back a few more times. And then at some point in the future, I bring the whole thing. You know, I bring the band. So it's like I do like exploration missions, you know, on my own, and then in the future we take the band. That's the idea.
Thank you for being so honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, this is unfortunately it's a lot more expensive to bring. Like when I tour with my band, there's 13 people. When I tour solo, it's 1 or 2. It's much more affordable.
Yes, and is it the same with your new album, Undefeated? The reason that you record and produced it alone, all by yourself, in your home.
Well, so that was during the pandemic, during COVID. I needed a hobby. My God, you know, I needed something to do, because I don't know about Bulgaria. In England, we were locked inside for like more than a year.
The same.
And it was like, if I don't get a hobby, I'm going to go crazy. So I knew a little bit about recording technology and stuff, but I decided to learn properly how to engineer recordings and how to mix recordings. So I got really, really hard into that and learned how to do it. And then by the time we got to the place of recording the new album, every other record I've made, we've hired a producer, you know, and it costs a lot of money. And some amazing people, you know, who are brilliant at their jobs. But like, it was like, wait, I can do this. I have my own studio now. Like, I don't need to pay somebody a lot of money to sit in the corner and say, well done, at the end of a take or whatever, you know. So I decided to do it myself, and I had a great time. It went really, really well. I'm really pleased with the record. But I also did an acoustic version of the whole album as well.
Yes.
And that's partly because of the kinds of tours that I'm doing now. You know, some people prefer to hear my music that way. I mean, for me, I prefer it with the full band, but some people like the acoustic thing, and that's cool. So yeah, so I decided to do that as well, so that people can hear how the song, because I write the songs acoustic, you know, it's just me and the guitar. So it gives everybody the full picture.
Okay, we will hear the original versions of your song in this
exactly
tour.
Exactly.
Okay. Uh, I saw that you released an album every year or two, and this is for 20 years up to now. That's
Yeah.
a lot of hard work, a lot.
Yeah.
Do you ever get overheated, burnout? Do you ever lose your meaning, your inspiration? And what do you do in such moments? Because I cannot imagine such a hard work.
Yeah, well, I mean, the short answer is yes, of course. There are days, there are weeks, there are months where I feel uninspired, maybe, you know. I mean, I finished writing Undefeated in 2023, you know, and like since then, I've written some songs, but not that many. And like, that's my 10th album, and I figured that
Yes.
I don't need to rush to do album 11, you know. I mean, 10's a lot of records.
Yes, a lot.
And also, a big thing for me, because the album before FTHC came out kind of during the pandemic, we didn't get to tour it as much as I wanted. So a really important thing for me with Undefeated was I wanted to tour it. I said when it came out, I'm going to play this record everywhere. And that's, you know, again, this tour is a big part of living up to that. And before the end of this year, I should be in South America for the first time. I'm very excited about that. I went to Japan for the first time. So, you know, if the inspiration for songs is not coming, I don't worry too much, partly because I have a lot of songs already, and partly because I can go out and tour, right? I can go out and play the songs. Of course, there are days when I get a little tired of touring. You get burned out. Maybe you get tired. Maybe you get sick on the road. You know, you get a cold or something, and it sucks. It's the worst feeling in the world to be on tour and have a cold. But ultimately, I get to do what I love for a living, and that's crazy. You know, that's such a privilege in life. And everybody in every job and every person in the whole world has days where they don't feel like it. You know what I mean? Where they're just like, eh.
Yes.
I think I probably have less days like that than most people. And I try and remind myself all the time that I'm very lucky to do what I do. So even on the days where I'm like, really, do I have to? You know, it's just like, come on, let's do this. I have so many friends who I started out with playing music who don't play music anymore because luck didn't go their way or whatever. And they would swap their kidneys to be where I am. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, I talk to myself and I say, stop being an idiot. Like, get up, enjoy it, have fun.
Yes, I understand you. And what do you have something special in your writing routine to be so productive?
You know, I don't really have a writing routine as such. I mean, a little bit more as time has gone by with each passing album, there's a bit more structure to it. But generally speaking, there's something in writing that is still mysterious to me, that I still don't fully understand how it works. And I think that's good. And I don't want to break it down too much so that I can't put it back together. You know what I mean? I want to just sort of keep it. And the songs come, you know? I mean, like I say, recently I haven't been writing as much as some points in my life. And I'm okay with that because I don't want to just put out a record because that's what I do. You know, I want to put out a record because I have something to say to the world. And I don't quite know when my next record will be. I mean, this is the thing. It's possible that like in the next month, I'll suddenly go, wow, and write 10 songs. But I might not. And it's right now, I feel I'm okay with that. It's like, let's see what happens.
If I understand you right, you wait for songs to come to you, not sit
Exactly.
and try, and
Exactly.
yes.
Yeah, exactly this. Yeah.
The title track of Undefeated, and not only this track in the album, sounds like life review.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stuck in the middle of life, loving lost, no longer bulletproof, no longer young. surfing the ripples of pride and remorse. The glory's fading, the kids are all gone. Hard to believe the memories are yours, and wondering if you still belong. When it feels like the work was for nothing, and you're wrecked and in retreat. Survival adds up to something, independent, undefeated.
You sing in your lyrics, no longer young man.
Sure.
Like a no longer young man, do you change your priorities in life?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I think one of the things I think about a lot is that life is about change. There's a funny thing being a musical artist, and I understand this, but like a lot of people, they fall in love with the first record of yours that they hear, and then they want you to be that person forever. And it's kind of like, well, like, so in England, a lot of people love my second record, which came out in 2008. And I was 26 when I wrote that record, or 25 when I wrote it, 26 when it came out. And like, I'm 43 now. I'm not the same person I was then. And on a personal level, it would be weird if I was the same person, right? It would mean I hadn't learned anything. I mean, like, I've played 3,000 shows since then. If I was the same person after 3,000 shows in 50 countries, that would mean I was an idiot, right? That means that I wasn't paying attention to the world around me. And I've always wanted to write honestly about my life and what's happening in my life. So I think that change is important, you know? I think it's on a personal level and on an artistic level as a writer. I think it's important to change and to grow. I don't want to repeat myself. You know, so Undefeated is a record about being in your early 40s in some ways, you know, and like that, maybe that's less kind of, it's less traditionally rock and roll.
But it's record for me. I'm in my early 40s.
Okay, well, there we go. But this is it, you know, like,
I understand you well.
Yeah, but this is it. There are, and I'm not going to say any names right now, but like there are bands who are my age or older who are still writing songs about being in school or whatever. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up, man. Like, it's creepy almost, you know, at a certain point. It's like, and the thing is, there are younger bands coming up now, younger writers, younger singers, younger bands, and they write about that stuff, and that's great, and they should do that. And there's something almost selfish about artists kind of not letting younger people write about the younger stuff, you know? That's for the younger people to write about. I mean, I'm not ancient. I'm middle-aged.
Middle-aged. In the beginning of your middle age.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Of course. And
by the way, in Bulgaria, do I say spasiba in Bulgaria? Is that Russian?
No, this is in Russian. Spasiba is благодаря in Bulgarian.
Благодаря. Благодаря.
You can use merci, French merci. We use merci too.
Okay, but благодаря is better. It's more Bulgarian.
Благодаря is so long and difficult word. That's why merci is
okay. I like it. Благодаря.
Благодаря. You have a beautiful r. Благодаря. Okay.
Благодаря.
In one word, which is your priority number one now in life? In life, not in music, in life.
In one word.
In one thing, maybe two
one
words.
Thing. That's a big question.
Yes, I know.
My priority in life is adventure.
Okay, in 43, adventure is a good answer.
Yeah. I mean, that's a simplistic thing to say, but like, this is why I want to go to new places and meet new people and all this kind of thing. You know, I want to stay. I don't want to just like sit in one place going, me. for the rest of my life. You know what I mean?
Of course, I understand.
That time will come. That time will come, but not yet.
Maybe 80s. Okay.
There we go.
You're mixing in this new album too such introspective songs like Undefeated with a lot of rebellion songs that I really like, and one of them is Leaders, and that's why I want to ask you, was there a leader you have ever trusted? It's no need to be political one.
Oh, a lot of my life has been inspired by Henry Rollins. He's a big person for me. And actually, last year, I have my own little festival every year. And
Yes,
he
I
came
know.
to my festival and I got to interview him on stage. And that was really, really big for me. That was huge. But I mean, and it's a funny thing because when I was younger, he was like my hero, you know?
Yes.
And I think that now I sort of engage with him more on an equal level. Not 100%, don't get me wrong. He's fucking Henry Rollins, but it's a bit more of an adult appreciation for who he is and what he's done and everything. But in terms of, when I was young, I was very into anarchist politics, and so I was like, fuck all politicians and that kind of thing. There are days now where I look back at politics in the 90s in the UK, where I'm like, it wasn't perfect, but I think that it was better than it is now in the UK.
Not only in UK.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And even again, I don't want to sit here and say that I'm the world's biggest Bill Clinton fan or whatever, but I would take Bill Clinton over Donald Trump 9 times a week. So but I guess the point of that song is to say that I don't think the politicians aren't supposed to be your friends. You know what I mean? They're not supposed to be people that you love and trust and believe in. They're supposed to be people who organize the shit that needs organizing, but because of their role, they have the opportunity to do bad things as well. So watch them carefully. You know what I mean?
Yes, I understand you. You have a song for Trump too, the Sand in the Gears, okay?
Sand in the Gears, yeah.
Yes, and you wrote it when he was first elected?
I wrote it on the day that he was inaugurated. Because
Yes.
I was in America and it was early 2017, and I watched his inauguration on a TV backstage, and it seemed like a pretty fucked up time to me, so I wrote that song very quickly.
Can't I just spend the next 4 years at a punk show? I want to spend the next 4 years in the front row. 'Cause if the world outside is going to shit, then you will find me in the center of the circle pit. I'm gonna spend the next 4 years at a punk show. Can't I just spend the next 4 years getting wasted? Maybe if I drink enough whiskey shots, I can face it. 'Cause if we're welcoming in World War III, then I'm waving goodbye to my sobriety. I'm gonna spend the next 4 years getting wasted. What do we do if they don't represent us? What do we do? I thought that we were winning the war against the homophobes and the racists. You can't be serious, man. We can't be this fucked. Well, I'm sorry, old friends. I guess it's time to suck it up. Don't go giving up now.
Yes, and now he's elected the second time.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yeah.
this song valid now, or you would change the lyrics now? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's valid now. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the fact of him being elected for the second time is historically interesting, should we say? You know, I think it shows that the first time he was elected is not not an anomaly, not a mistake. You know what I mean? It's part of a trend rather than just this crazy one-off thing that happened. I find that quite depressing because I'm not a fan of him or his politics. I should say that I love the United States. I love it over there. Lots of my friends and family are American, and it's one of my favorite places in the world. So, you know, I don't want to shit on America. Full stop. It's a great place, but like it is it's a difficult time for them right now, should we say?
Yes. We'll see. In 2017, you predicted the third world war in the song, and I hope it won't happen now.
Yeah, I hope that I'm wrong. I hope I'm
yes,
wrong.
I hope you're wrong. But he's a crazy man. I don't know.
Yes, I agree.
My opinion.
Yeah, me too.
A few days ago, you did your concert number 3,000.
3,000. Yeah.
Yes. That's an average of one concert in every 2.5 days for the past 20 years without a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is crazy. And
it makes me wonder what was I doing with the other day and a half?
Yes,
I could have done more shows. I could have done more.
How do you keep up with this kind of life? Now you are on tour. After that, I saw that you have more tour dates. And how do you take care of your mental health? Because I know, speaking with a lot of musicians, that this is so difficult for your mental health to be every day in a different country with no friends, no family, no home, without your belongings. You're in the middle of nowhere. You don't know where you are.
Yeah, I mean, well, the first thing to say is that I started touring when I was 16 years old. So, like, this is my life, you know? Like, touring isn't like a holiday from something else. You know what I mean? It's like, this is what I do. So, I am used to it, should we say. But that doesn't mean that it's not hard sometimes. And, you know, I mean, I live here. This is my house. And, you know, I do get homesick sometimes, and there are days when I get tired, and there are days when I get lonely and all that kind of thing. And I have had trouble with my mental health on tour. I've had trouble with drugs and stuff in the past as well. That's not been good for me at certain times. So it is difficult. I think that you say not being with friends and family, but my crew, my touring crew, are like family for me. I mean, I'm closer to my touring crew than I am to my family. And when I come to Bulgaria, it's just the two of us, but nevertheless, Dougie, who's with me, is like my best friend. So there are people around, you know, and I guess it just goes back to what I was saying before. I think every way of living life has challenges, you know, has difficulties. And maybe the way that I've chosen has some quite unusual difficulties, and that occasionally they can be challenging, you know, they can be quite hard to deal with. But it puts you in a certain mindset. I mean, one of the things I love about touring is that you become a problem solver, right? And what I mean by that is that, like, if something goes wrong on tour, you have to fix it now. You can't decide you're going to fix it next week. And whether that's a technical problem, or your van broke down, or something mental, or whatever it might be, it has to get sorted now. And I really like that mindset, you know. It's cool because it just means you get stuff done.
Yes, of course, but how do you fix when you have a mental problem on tour? How do you cope with
well, I mean, I've learned ways of doing it over the years, you know. Like, there are people that I talk to, there are you know, and sometimes I've mental health professionals. I have a therapist who I talk to and stuff, but I have a support network around me as well. So far, I've not had to do the thing of like canceling shows for mental health reasons. I've had to cancel shows for physical health reasons. That happens, you know, you get sick or whatever. But I don't disrespect anybody who can't have to cancel a show for mental health reasons. And I think that there are times when that's the right thing to do. And hopefully the audience will understand that as well. Ultimately, I love what I do. It is difficult at times. I don't want to kill myself doing what I do. That's ridiculous. You know, I want to enjoy what I do. I want to be good at what I do. I want to keep doing what I'm doing. This is, as we say, it's a marathon and not a sprint. You know, it's like, and therefore, I don't want to kill myself trying to go hard in the short term because I want to do it for the long term. And the other thing relevant to this is that, like, I still tour pretty hard. I don't tour like I did when I was in my late 20s and early 30s. I look back at the schedule from then, and that was fucking crazy. Like, I did 13 months without going home at one point. You know, it's ridiculous. And like, I don't tour like that anymore. These days, I tend to go home every 4 weeks at the most. You know, so it has eased off a bit as time has gone by. And
what's the feeling from these some nights ago about your concert number 3000? What was the feeling to go on stage in this sold out big hall and everything?
Yeah. It was pretty crazy. I mean, it was an enormous show. It was in a venue that I love that's about 10 minutes from here, which was really cool for me because I know it very well. It feels like home for me. I mean, in many ways, but I had such a crazy day, like with press and with interviews and seeing my family and all this kind of thing. Getting tattooed, all that kind of business.
Yes, I saw in the backstage video.
Yeah, I've got
which one?
I got a couple, but that's 3000 in Roman numerals. But with all of that going on, like it was almost suddenly it was like, and now you're going on stage, and it was like, oh, what the fuck? But it was really cool. I mean, there are no drugs that are as good as going on stage in front of 10,000 people.
Yes.
And I would know.
You know it well. Okay, but the night before that, you were alone in a little club?
Yes.
Yes. Why? Yeah. How was the difference? What was the difference in your feelings? These two different nights, one after the other. What was?
I mean, there were some differences. We did the club show because that's where show number 1 happened.
Yes.
And it seemed like a cool place to do show 2,999. But and I did a very different set. You know, I played all different songs. The two shows had no songs in between them, and that was kind of fun. I have a lot of songs, so crazy.
Yes.
I mean, of course, there were differences. There were physical differences in the size of the space and the number of people and the volume and all that kind of thing. But on some levels, I feel like they have more in common than they have different. You know, like it's still me getting up on a stage with my guitar, trying to entertain a crowd, and that is the core, the heart of it is the same. It doesn't matter how big the room is. It doesn't matter how many people there are.
Oh. It's good to hear that because the venue here in Bulgaria is a small venue.
I know, I'm so excited for it. It's going to be this is it. In some ways, it will be very different in good ways. I think, you know, I'll be in Bulgaria rather than London, and that's great. You know, and I'll be meeting new people and experiencing new things. But also, you know, I'm still trying to just whoever's in front of me. If it's one person, if it's 10 people, if it's 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, whatever. I'm still trying to do the same thing.
Yes, and tell me about your fans. What is the most kind thing that a fan did for you, or say to you, or I don't know, something to remember forever?
People, I mean, so many things, you know, I'm very lucky with that as well. People have given me cool presents and they've said the most amazing things to me over the years. I think I had a thing, this is a long time ago now, but I had a thing where there was a British newspaper who wrote a horrible article about me. They called me an arsehole, basically. And it wasn't much fun because it was a big newspaper. And I was pretty depressed, upset, stressed about it, whatever. A couple of weeks later, I went to a show and I got given this folder with like 200 or maybe more, but hundreds of like letters from people basically just saying how what I had done with my music had had a positive impact on them and that I shouldn't listen to these arseholes, kind of thing. And it was a really, really sweet gesture, and I didn't know it was coming. And that was a special moment for sure.
Yes, and the depression is go away in this moment.
Yeah, well,
I hope.
yeah, mostly. I mean, it's you know, I think humans, we're very good at holding on to the bad stuff and letting go of the good stuff.
Yes, of course, every human. Sorry for
Yeah,
being
right.
so curious about your personal life, but I read that you're born in Bahrain.
Yes.
Why? Why in Bahrain? What,
Oh,
what's the story there?
my dad was working out there. I was there for like 6 months.
Ah,
I
only
don't remember
6 months.
it at
You
all.
you don't remember Bahrain.
No.
After that, did you go back to Bahrain maybe for concert? Have you go there?
I've never been back. I've never been back. I've never been back.
It will be interesting maybe to go back. It was
Yeah, well, like maybe. I mean, like say, I have no memories of it. My big sister remembers a little bit, but I don't remember.
Yes, I understand. And only few questions if you have time. You have an album that was inspired and you dedicated to a strong women, No Man's Land.
Mm-hmm.
Why did
Yeah.
you do this album? Why all about women?
Well, so I started writing. I wanted to write a history record. I had an idea to write a history record, to write about people from history who people don't know very much about, right? And I wrote like 4, maybe 5 songs, and all of them were about female historical figures. And there's an obvious reason for this. You know, we've lived in a patriarchal society for a long time. And that seemed like an interesting theme to pursue. So I kept going down that road. And I really enjoyed writing that record. I learned so much, you know. Talking of Bulgaria, I mean, there's a song about 𝐋𝐢𝐚𝐚, who was the Byzantine princess who turned down the Emperor Theophilus' marriage offer. So there's a song for her. And she would have spent time in what is now Bulgaria. So maybe I'll play that song at the show.
A lot of relations with Bulgaria. I like that. And why your song Sailor's Boots, you named originally Rod Stewart?
That is an obscure but good question. I think it was originally called Rod Stewart because I think I called it the Sailing Song at one point, and then Rod Stewart has a song called the Sailing Song, and I was like, fuck,
Yes.
I can't call it that. So its nickname
Yes.
was Rod Stewart for a while, but that wasn't ever its like serious title.
Yes. Do you like Rod Stewart? Or it's not
I don't love his music. I don't love his music, but I read his autobiography and he seems like a cool guy. Also, he's from this part of the world. He's from this part of London.
Yes. I know. He has interesting hobbies. And he will come to Bulgaria for the first time this autumn.
Very nice. Well, let's see who speaks more Bulgarian on stage, me or Rod Stewart.
I'm sure that you will speak more Bulgarian because I don't think he will even try to speak in Bulgarian, but I don't know. Maybe.
You never know.
And my last question, and I'll ask you because you are so open to tell me even personally that you have troubles with drugs in your life. And I read that you were straight edge for some years before that. What pushed you in these extremes from?
Oh, I think that's just my personality. Yeah, and I think it's true of a lot of people I know who are straight edge when they're younger. They grow up and have drug problems. It's pretty common. I'm glad to say these days I have avoided the extremes. I'm happy in the middle. You know, I had a glass of wine last night.
In Bulgaria, there is really good wine in Bulgaria. Ask your promoters to give you a good Bulgarian.
What's the liqueur? Is that slivka or something?
Rakia.
Rakia. I must drink some rakia in Bulgaria.
But it is strong. Really strong.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll drink it after the show.
Yes, after the show is okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Really, thank you for your time. And for the end, would you tell something to people, to Bulgarian people, to come to your concert? Maybe.
It's my first headline show in Bulgaria. I'm so excited to be there. I will try and sing a song in Bulgarian, and I'd like to make some new friends.